On February 18, 2026, everything changed around LaMelo Ball. That afternoon in uptown Charlotte, he was driving a custom 2022 GMC Hummer EV through one of the busiest intersections in the city. It was around 4:30 p.m. Traffic was steady. People were leaving work. The streets were active. At the intersection of East Trade Street and South Tryon Street, he attempted to make an unprotected left turn. A silver Kia sedan was coming straight through the intersection. In seconds, the two vehicles collided. The impact was strong enough to knock the front left wheel completely off the Hummer. Both vehicles were damaged badly and had to be towed away. Witnesses nearby described hearing a loud crash that echoed across the buildings. Within minutes, a crowd formed. Some people recorded on their phones. Others just stood in shock. It was not just a simple fender bender. It was a serious accident in a public place involving one of the most recognizable athletes in the city. LaMelo stepped out of the Hummer wearing a Hornets hoodie. He looked calm. The driver of the Kia also exited the vehicle. Emergency services arrived quickly. One person involved in the accident was treated for minor injuries. There were no reports of life-threatening harm. LaMelo himself was reported to be physically fine. By the next day, he was expected to play in the Hornets game against the Houston Rockets. But even without serious injuries, the story did not end there. The accident immediately brought back old concerns about LaMelo's driving history. Videos from past years began circulating again online. Clips showed him speeding, running red lights, and driving aggressively near the arena. Fans had joked about it before. After this crash, the jokes stopped feeling funny. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department did not release a full report right away. No official cause was confirmed. No charges were announced at that time. The silence left space for the internet to react, and the internet reacted loudly. Social media platforms filled with opinions. Some fans defended LaMelo. Others said this was predictable. On Reddit and X, users pointed out that this was not the first time his driving had raised concern. People referenced a 2023 incident where an 11-year-old fan was struck by his vehicle while seeking an autograph. That child suffered a foot injury and a lawsuit was later filed. Though that case was described as non-criminal, it added to a pattern that many people could not ignore.
When people talk about someone being sentenced in moments like this, they are not always talking about a courtroom. Sometimes the sentence is public opinion. Sometimes the sentence is trust being lost. Sometimes it is the reputation that follows you every time you start your car. LaMelo Ball is not just any driver. He is a franchise player for the Charlotte Hornets. He signed a 5-year contract extension worth over $200 million. He is one of the most valuable athletes in the organization. When you carry that kind of value, your actions matter even more. Every move becomes part of your public image. To understand why this crash hit differently, you have to understand LaMelo's journey. Born in Anaheim, California, he grew up in the spotlight. As a teenager at Chino Hills High School, he scored 92 points in a single game. He became famous before he even reached the NBA. He played overseas in Lithuania, then in Australia's NBL. In 2020, he was selected 3rd overall in the NBA draft by the Charlotte Hornets. He quickly won Rookie of the Year. He became an All-Star. His style of play made him one of the most exciting young guards in the league. But alongside his talent, there has always been controversy. From comments that drew criticism to fines for on-court behavior, LaMelo's career has included moments that created headlines for the wrong reasons. The driving incidents now add another serious layer. The reason this crash feels heavy is not because someone died that day. Thankfully, that did not happen. The reason it feels heavy is because history shows what can happen next if nothing changes. The NBA has painful examples. In 2000, Bobby Phills, a Hornets player, died in a high-speed crash in Charlotte after racing another car. His jersey was later retired. His death left a deep mark on the franchise and the city. That history still lives in Charlotte. When another Hornets player is involved in a serious crash, memories return. In that same year, Malik Sealy of the Minnesota Timberwolves was killed by a drunk driver. In 2007, Eddie Griffin died after driving into a train while intoxicated. In 2018, Rasul Butler lost control of his vehicle at high speed and died along with his wife. These names are not mentioned to compare situations directly. They are mentioned to show that car accidents have changed lives in the NBA before. There are also cases where players survived, but others did not. J.R. Smith was involved in a fatal crash in 2007 after running a stop sign. He served jail time and faced suspension. Mookie Blaylock was sentenced after a head-on collision that killed a passenger in another vehicle. These stories are reminders that driving decisions can have permanent outcomes. Right now, LaMelo Ball is fortunate. The February 18 crash did not take a life. No severe injuries were reported. He walked away. He played basketball the next day. But the word "yet" is powerful. Every time someone runs a red light or makes a risky turn, they are trusting luck. Luck does not always stay on your side. Fans also noticed something symbolic. After the crash, LaMelo reportedly left the scene in a Lamborghini. That detail spread quickly online. For some, it felt careless. For others, it simply reflected his lifestyle. But in moments like this, optics matter. People expect seriousness after serious events. The Hornets organization remained mostly silent. No major public statement came immediately. From a business point of view, that might seem smart. From a public trust point of view, it can feel distant. LaMelo's talent on the court is not in question. He averages over 20 points and 7 assists per game in his career. He has recorded triple-doubles. He has had 50-point performances. He is one of the brightest young stars in the league. But talent does not protect you from traffic laws. Talent does not stop physics. The road does not know contracts. It does not know endorsement deals. It does not know highlight reels. It responds only to speed, direction, reaction time, and space. What happens next will define this chapter of LaMelo's life more than the crash itself. Does he adjust his habits? Does he take visible responsibility? Does he show growth? Or does he continue driving the same way, trusting that nothing worse will happen? Growth is possible. Many athletes have faced moments that force them to change. Sometimes a scare is enough. Sometimes it takes something worse. The hope for everyone involved is that February 18th was the wake-up call. Because the truth is simple. A 9,000-pound vehicle moving through a city intersection is not a toy. It is not a prop. It is not a symbol of wealth. It is power, and power demands control. LaMelo Ball has control over a basketball in ways very few people on earth do. He can split defenders, throw no-look passes, and hit deep shots with confidence. The question now is whether he can show that same control behind the wheel. The public has already reacted. Comment sections have spoken. Debates have filled social media. But beyond the noise is a real issue: safety, responsibility, maturity. This story is not just about one crash. It is about patterns. It is about warnings. It is about whether lessons are learned before consequences grow larger. Right now, LaMelo Ball still has the chance to rewrite this narrative. He is healthy. The other driver survived. The city avoided tragedy. That is not something to take lightly. The next chapter depends on choices. Every time he starts his engine, he chooses how this story continues. And history shows that the road gives no second chances once a line is crossed too far. For LaMelo Ball, February 18, 2026 may not be remembered as the day everything ended. It may instead be remembered as the day everything finally changed. If this moment truly becomes a turning point, then the focus will not just be on the crash itself, but on what comes after it. The league has seen young stars face tough moments before. Some shrink under pressure. Others grow. This is where maturity becomes more important than talent. LaMelo is still young. He is only in his mid-20s. Many players at that age are still figuring out life in the spotlight. The money, the fame, the attention, and the pressure can create a bubble. Inside that bubble, it is easy to feel untouchable. But real life does not work that way. A red light does not change because you are an all-star. A car does not stop faster because your jersey sells out in stores. The Hornets are also in a delicate position. As a franchise, they are building around him. He is the face of the team. Ticket sales, marketing campaigns, and national TV appearances often revolve around him. When your star player is involved in repeated driving concerns, it becomes more than a personal issue. It becomes an organizational issue. There is also the locker room factor. Teammates watch everything. Young players especially look up to the franchise star. Leadership is not only about scoring points, it is about setting an example. If the leader shows reckless behavior off the court, it can quietly affect the culture of the team. Fans in Charlotte have mixed feelings. Some feel protective. They say everyone makes mistakes. They point out that no serious injuries occurred. They argue that the media often overreacts when athletes are involved. Others feel frustrated. They believe warnings have been ignored before. They worry that next time the ending may not be so fortunate. The city itself has a strong connection to its basketball history. The memory of Bobby Phills still holds emotional weight in Charlotte. The idea of another Hornets player being part of a serious car accident touches a sensitive nerve. It reminds people how quickly life can change. There is also a larger conversation about athletes and high-performance vehicles. Many NBA players own luxury cars, fast cars.
There is also the locker room factor. Teammates watch everything. Young players especially look up to the franchise star. Leadership is not only about scoring points, it is about setting an example. If the leader shows reckless behavior off the court, it can quietly affect the culture of the team. Fans in Charlotte have mixed feelings. Some feel protective. They say everyone makes mistakes. They point out that no serious injuries occurred. They argue that the media often overreacts when athletes are involved. Others feel frustrated. They believe warnings have been ignored before. They worry that next time the ending may not be so fortunate. The city itself has a strong connection to its basketball history. The memory of Bobby Phills still holds emotional weight in Charlotte. The idea of another Hornets player being part of a serious car accident touches a sensitive nerve. It reminds people how quickly life can change. There is also a larger conversation about athletes and high-performance vehicles. Many NBA players own luxury cars, fast cars, heavy cars, exotic cars. They are symbols of success, but they also demand skill and discipline to operate safely. When you combine youth, speed, and public roads, the risk increases. The NBA has rules about player conduct. If the league determines that behavior violates certain standards, discipline can follow. That might include fines or suspensions. At this point, no such action has been announced, but the possibility always exists when repeated patterns surface. LaMelo's brand also matters. He has endorsement deals, shoe deals, sponsorships. Companies invest in athletes not just for performance, but for image. A pattern of reckless driving can make sponsors nervous. They want reliability. They want positive headlines. They want stability. Right now, this situation is still at a crossroads. It has not reached the level of legal disaster. It has not reached the level of suspension. It has not reached the level of tragedy. That is important. It means there is still space to correct the course. Sometimes growth shows in quiet ways. It might mean hiring a professional driver more often. It might mean slowing down. It might mean publicly addressing concerns and showing accountability. Actions speak louder than statements. Basketball fans often separate on-court brilliance from off-court behavior. They say, just play. But in reality, those worlds are connected. Confidence on the court can sometimes turn into overconfidence elsewhere. Discipline in one area should extend to all areas. There is also the human side. Beyond the highlights and contracts, LaMelo is a son, a brother, a teammate. His family has supported him since childhood. They have seen him grow from a high school star to an NBA name. They understand the stakes better than anyone. They know how quickly success can shift. Public reaction can be harsh. Social media rarely offers patience. Every mistake becomes a meme. Every incident becomes a debate. But criticism, when fair, can also serve as pressure that pushes someone toward better decisions. It is easy to say, nothing serious happened, so move on. It's harder to admit, this could have been worse, so let's change. The difference between those two mindsets can define a career. LaMelo's playing style is creative and fearless. He throws passes most players would never attempt. That fearless nature is part of what makes him special. But fearlessness on the road is not a strength. Caution is. When fans look back years from now, they won't focus on the dented metal or the broken wheel. They will focus on whether this moment led to growth or whether it was ignored. The best outcome is simple. No more incidents, no more risky clips, no more public worry. Just steady leadership and focus on basketball. Because the truth is clear. Championships, awards, and highlight reels build a legacy, but character protects it. LaMelo Ball still has time to mature, time to adjust,
time to show that the February crash was not the start of a downward path, but the moment he realized the importance of responsibility beyond the court. For now, the story remains unfinished. Every new game he plays will shift attention back to basketball. Every safe decision he makes will slowly rebuild confidence. And every time he chooses control over impulse, he will move further away from headlines like this one. The road ahead is long. The question is not whether he can handle a basketball. He has already proven that. The real question is whether he can handle everything else that comes with being a star. And that answer will not be given in interviews. It will be shown in actions.